Thanks for listening to the debate about consumer culture promotes diversity. I'm Lin. Hope we all could enjoy this debate board. Before we discuss about debate, please allow me to introduce the history of the customer's culture. And there is a 4 steps we could mention today, and we're going to start from 17th century Europe. The hand here means in that moment, the products were always made by hand, and the place of the show is the first market in Europe. Here we could see the rich people start consuming overseas products, tea, cotton, and porcelain. Meanwhile, the poor still gets the potatoes and bread for the food. It made a lot of influence for the customer's culture. Middle class had been shown, and the old new nobility's property got shot, and new nobilities get up. The social classes were not stable in that moment because of those diversity of the consumerist and overseas expansion. Okay, in the second step, the first store, department store. You could see the steam machine and industrial equipment here, because that means the end of the 17th century and start the 18th century. The West were in industrial revolution. In this step, the gap of wealth had been narrowed, and commodity had become plentiful and cheap, but the classes will still be there because of war. Excuse me. After the benefit of overseas expansion, the war started, and consumers was being restrained by this environment. And in this period, there were advertising on the newspaper. And after this, the third step, transfer. Obviously, it is after World War II. We could see the hot weapon like fight, tank, and so on. American, as the one of the winner country in the world, took a lot of spoils of the war and tried to build their country. The habit after the World War II made American uphold on regular pipeline store operation. Fast consumerist, streamlined production become the American consumerist representative. Famous example, Coca-Cola and McDonald's. And those future also developed the American retro style in the interior color or modern art story. Nowadays, e-commerce, internet shopping. We relate on the computer and the internet developed in the 2000s, and also relate on the modern express age. Online stores become a normal thing nowadays, which make great impact to the physical shops. And advertising was turned from paper to the electric a lot recently. About 75 advertising in the world is electric advertising. Obviously, electric advertising also made more influence to us because sometimes in the internet we have the information gap in the website. Okay, after the historical impression of consumer culture, most exciting things, the debate. We're going here. Does the customer culture promote the diversity? Yes or no? There are 3 short notes here. White is word for yes, and black is word for no. In 17th century's point, the yes group have more idea. One is the concept of contextual consumption. Another is novelty design. Meanwhile, no group have one idea about what will reduce consumption. So what is contextual consumption? In 17th century, there are a lot of overseas products imported to Europe, and the nobility were not satisfied with necessities. Compression in voyage, they even invited a lot of formal dress for the different interpretations. Sometimes a lady needs to change 3 or more dress in different occasions one day, and the dress obviously lyric shows and jewelry dress. Those contextual consumption obviously would take the product diversity in that moment. Etiquettes were complicated. Gentlemen and ladies exert all their energy for the contextuals, fishbone skirt, feather head. All of them are good example in invention of consumers' diversity in that moment. Nobody design. It is very interesting, but useless area for the customers. Excuse as you barcodes, spoon, and so on. It obviously would take the aesthetics develop, and also sometimes would invite new things for customers. I have to say, every unknown exploration was good, and maybe would develop the diversity in the human life. And now no group say in the same time the war went start because of overseas expansion. This could be imagined how destroy of the world. The store had to be closed, and military consumption rose. Army aesthetic, we could imagine Sam Uniqlo, Net Uniqlo. This all the elements would be reduced to the human daily consumption. And time move on the 18th centuries. No groups has more ideas because industrial revolution background, and this group have strong points because science also developed in this period. This group said the benefit from science we have more and more exotic seed. A good example, lemon family. It was planned and hybridization from bergamot and orange. People also find lemon and sweet orange could be fertilized into group food. So nowadays we have a lot of fruits to eat. The most benefit is from science developed. No group has different points. The first one is integration of department store. Very simple, homemade cookie. Homemade cookie could not be able to sort in the department store. That means even the same name of the cookie, different family have a different tasting. It obviously killed the diversity of the homemade part. Another one is the processing, assembly line. It was more applied in the production process. We could see the same box, same context, same steps. That means if the companies were willing to invent something new for the production, they have to rely on the laboratory, not the beautiful accident in the cooking process. What's a pity for that? So if we jump to the 19th centuries, trend store and World II background part, yes, and no groups were evenly matched. They both have 2 points here. This group said the family life become diversity, and TV shopping started in this period. The mall trend shopping and departments were built, and they were offered more jobs for the people. The fast consumption obviously would develop the diversity and culture in America. Another special point is the subcultural group. Here is an example photo. The subcultural group is a large group, and they have unaesthetic filter, and those elements obviously make influence until nowadays. They might be seen as low-income group, but it did not hinder their cultures develop and creation in different industry. And no group was in different views. They considered about family class education. Middle or rich class were trained to send the children in the more serious school. Meanwhile, they will use the family energy to help their children grow up. But lower class would be willing to let their children grow up by nature. Not too much knowledge requirements for their children. Those phenomena would limit the knowledge spread and also limit the children diversity in the future. Another question is the refuge issue. Until now, we are still headed with that because religion, limited, and water background. Yeah, the controversial filter of multiculturalism means government had to divide another religion, culture, and native culture. In short, the possibility of new integration and the creation of a culture of welfare is reduced. Finally, so we are going nowadays. I know the background is about the e-commerce, but we are here. So here, yes, and no group, we're not going to talk about electric and so on. We're talking something more specific and more novelty points for the customers. Religion. What's the diversity of the religion customers to know? Yes, group have really interesting idea. As a religion, they like to accept the believers for free. But if you become a normal or longer believers, it is normal to pay for the activities and the sacrifice. And you also could touch the choice of the science development. For example, the electric candle. This group also proposed an interesting view about flying spaghetti religion. The photo here respects the flying specific religion. It is a satirical religion and legal in the Netherlands. The image of the flying spaghetti religion reflects we are in era of relative freedom, and each conception could combine or create a new religion. Here is the diversity of the religion. Now, no group is a little serious. They face the reality and said most believers are in a pro-life. The believers are required into the unicorn, and some religion consumption limited dogma. For example, the most long-time bodyism believers are not allowed to eat meat or enjoy the pleasure. So obviously, to a nightclub, consumption would be limited. So after a long time, we would have the filter for those believers, and obviously it limits the life diversity of course. And yes, and no group are still arguing if the consumerist culture promotes diversity, and we're gonna leave the world for them. With this argument, critical thinking, we're gonna exploration our future as well. Thanks for listening.